Hvala, Alek. Сега би сакал да го представам коосновачот на League of Macedonian Americans и автор на 4 книги на македонската историја. I'd like to introduce the co-founder of the League of Macedonian Americans and the author of 4 books on Macedonian history, who came down from Vermont. And Victor is somebody that I've known for many years now, and he is documenting and promoting our collective Macedonian history, and he is writing the history of our community in the United States and worldwide. So Victor Sinadinovski.
Good afternoon, fellow Macedonians.
What up, man?
It's a pleasure and honor to be addressing you here in the capital of this remarkable nation. We are lucky to be living in the United States, a country that recognizes us as Macedonians, and a land where we can identify as Macedonians, practice our Macedonian culture, and speak the Macedonian language without fear or shame. That's right. Unfortunately, we cannot say the same from our many brothers and sisters in Greece, a country that claims to be a free democracy. That's right. For many decades, the xenophobic Greek government has treated Macedonians with cruelty and disdain. This intolerant Greek society has never accepted the fact that Macedonians do indeed exist. Even today, certain Greek religious leaders wish death onto the Macedonian people. Shame on them! They're supposed to be church leaders. Shame on them. But the simple fact that we are all here today proves that those who deny our very existence are wrong. Looking at this crowd inspires me even more so to believe that we have every reason to be proud Macedonians. So thank you for being here. It is fantastic to see this much support for the We Are Macedonia and Our Name is Macedonia campaigns. I know that this Macedonian movement will not fade away until our demands are met. The truth is, however, we shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be shouting to a world that isn't listening, to a world that refuses to acknowledge the gross violations of international law that have been dragging on openly for decades. We shouldn't be forced to defend our right to identify as Macedonians and to justify why Greece has no right to dictate what we call ourselves. But this is the hand that we've been dealt. What matters now is how we organize moving forward and how we communicate our hopes and our aspirations to Macedonians around the world and to all those that are listening to our Macedonian cry. For Macedonians, our whole modern history hasn't been fair. From Macedonia's partition in 1913 through today's injustices, Macedonia has been beaten, battered, and bruised. But guess what? We're still here! Macedonia! 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 We're still fighting, and we must continue fighting for what is rightfully ours, our name, our identity, and our homeland. But we also must show Macedonians in Macedonia that our investment is not just in our name and identity, but that we are also invested in the people as well. We must also dedicate our time and efforts to create a strong Macedonian democracy that is void of corruption, and we must help build a vibrant and diverse Macedonian economy that provides meaningful employment for the Macedonian people so the Macedonian youth are not leaving Macedonia for other countries. The name Macedonian matters, and it matters a lot, but so does who and what it represents. Yet, we know that there are some pressing dangers facing our people and homeland, but these dangers are not new nor surprising. For over a century, Greece has belittled us and violated our rights. I won't detail the human rights abuses employed by Greece against the ethnic minority that's Macedonian within its borders, but that list is long and disturbing. Today we are talking about one sovereign nation imposing its will on another sovereign nation. In the 1990s, Greece placed a blockade on Macedonians, forcing Macedonia to change its flag, to amend its constitution, and refer to itself in the United Nations under a designation so disgraceful and so insulting that it can't be uttered on this stage. And then, in 2008, Greece had the nerve to veto Macedonia from its entrance into NATO. Why? Why? Because we are Macedonians. Because we demand to be treated fairly and equally. Because Greece is so insecure in its own identity that it has sought to expand its inflated ego through uncontrolled chauvinism and irresponsible nationalism. That's right. Thus, we Macedonians are not culpable for Greece's hostile attitude toward us. We have not demanded anything of Greece, other than for them to stop blackmailing Macedonians into committing cultural suicide. And we just ask the world powers to defend the UN Charter, like so many people before me speaking have said, which calls for every nation to respect the principles of equality and self-determination. We ask not for Greek land, nor for Greek history, but we demand our Macedonian name, we demand our Macedonian identity. We were born with it, and we will die with it.
Bravo, Victor! Bravo, Victor!
As the founder of the modern Macedonian language, Krste Mirsikov, wrote in 1903, "Good relations between Greeks and ourselves depend more on the Greeks than us. If these relations are to be improved, the Greeks should abandon their megalomania and acknowledge the right of Macedonians to exist together with Greeks in Macedonia." Mirsikov's words are true today. The burden is not on us to be good neighbors. The burden is on Greece to abandon its reckless agenda. They are Greeks, we are Macedonians. Now let's move forward. Still, I must say we Macedonians are not completely blameless. For too long, we have been a passive and reactive people. Instead of having the necessary political influence and community mobilization required to decisively eradicate such injustices, we have somehow come to believe that we are not in control of our own destiny, that there's little we can do to protect our rights and advance our interests. We cannot succeed like this. Every Macedonian here today, then, must make a pledge that we will never give up on Macedonia, and that we will build strong, resilient, and active Macedonian communities in our hometowns. Our Macedonians will be good citizens. We will be involved citizens. We will help our fellow Macedonians when they need it, eagerly and unconditionally. Further, we will embrace our Macedonian language and culture with open arms. We will respect this great American country, but we will not give up our identity, language, and culture for anyone. With thriving Macedonian communities and individuals who are not just secure in their identity, but who are well versed in their history and culture, we will have the means to successfully defend our interests and advance the Macedonian cause. The world will know that we are Macedonians, and yes, we do exist. You know, Macedonia, that's right. You know, most of our ancestors came to this country with next to nothing in their pockets, like many of you here today. But not only did they provide a better life for their children, one full of endless opportunities, but they built up their Macedonian communities from scratch. All these churches that we see have been built up by our ancestors. They had nothing when they came here, and yet they gave us everything. So we, especially the younger generation, we are lucky. Our fathers and mothers and our babas and dedos, they set the foundations for us, and they have given us the means to succeed. Now we must ensure that their efforts, which resulted in the numerous thriving Macedonian communities around this country, are not lost in this modern age of self-importance. We will have to show them that we will never give up on their ideals and their cause. They have been our inspiration, and we are their legacy. Fellow Macedonians, if we want our identity, name, and culture to thrive, no matter where we are, we must be willing to sacrifice some of our personal interests to achieve our common destiny. We must set aside our egos, we must overcome our differences, and we must unite for the common cause. We were born Macedonians. Macedonians, and we will die Macedonians, but we will not let Macedonia die with us. We will continue our fight against Greek discrimination and against the world's apathy so that future generations have the right and honor to call themselves Macedonian. If we don't give up on Macedonia, Macedonia won't give up on us, wherever the Macedonians may be. Thank you all very much, and I hope you enjoy the protest.